it's pretty much safe to say putting in 60, 70 hours a week on the road in the industry, you're going to want to get that car's oil changed at least once every 3 weeks, right? So we'll probably say 15 oil changes for the year, right? For the year. Average oil change, let's go on the low end, let's say $70, right? Times 15. That's $1,050 for the entire year, right? Next thing we're going to get into is tires, right? Let's say, and this could be widely debated on tires, right? I know guys up here, so we're going to use that as the example, who use used tires because they're a little bit cheaper. I'm going low end kind of numbers here. I'm not going to even do these mathematics on if you're someone that likes to go out and get new tires, right? So now let's say you're that guy that you go out and you use used tires. You might have to change them 2 times a year, right? Maybe even 3, depending on the quality that you actually get. Used tires, let's say hypothetically go for 60 a piece, 120, 240 for the whole set. 240 2 times a year, that's $480 for the year. Throw in a couple dollars just in case you gotta maybe go get an extra one. So let's say that's tires. Let's just hypothetically throw in an extra $600 for the year, right? And it could even go higher than that. That's the cheapest scenario if you're buying used tires, right? Now, the next thing that's going to come in is that you're going to need to get tune-ups on this vehicle, right? Now, averaging, let's say, 5,000 miles a month, I would say you would want to tune this car up, do a full change out of a lot of things twice a year. Which to do that twice a year, bare bone to minimum, would, depending on who you know and who you take it to, see, my father's a mechanic. I got to kind of throw that disclaimer out there. So I really have to think about these numbers because during the time that I was in the rideshare industry, I'm going to be honest with you guys, a lot of this stuff was a little bit cheaper for me because I only had to go to AutoZone and buy these parts. And I think that's another important factor here because it played out better for me than it would for most people if you're going to go ahead and take your car to a mechanic. So I'll be quite honest. Let's do the benefit of the doubt and say 2 tune-ups, $700 for the year, right? So between what we said with oil changes, tires, and tune-ups, we're already at, 2350 for the year. And now, as far as upkeep and maintenance of the vehicle goes, right? You have to now, and this is where it gets tricky now because you never know when it's going to hit you along the way while you're working, right? Let's say something else mechanical wise happens where you have to replace a fuel pump, a alternator, or something like that, right? Let's say you have the average small mechanical problems that happen to you throughout the year. I would say it would be safe on the small end to add $1,500. And I am going to advise anyone out there that's watching this video and you're currently driving in 2025, don't be so trapped in the grind like what we said in the last video to the point where you don't keep funds to the side, like a little bit of an emergency stash to the side to say, hey, you know what? When that mechanical issue does happen, I'm not really worried about it due to the fact of I have some money to the side. I could take a little break if I need to take a day or two off, or I have the money already to the side, so I know I'm not going to be financially stressed about it when that issue does happen. If it's a $300, $500, $800 mechanical bill, because my car is my source of income, it's not going to be something that when it happens, I'm in a predicament where I can't do it. Because the longer I procrastinate, the longer I sit on a broken car, I'm actually losing money. So when these mechanical issues happen, it's definitely going to be something that's very important for you to be able to have the cash on hand, immediately send it over to whoever you need to send it over, or call whoever it is you need to call in order to go ahead and have that fixed. I think another important thing to note is that I am taking a good year where you have normal mechanical problems, let's hypothetically say, right? That 1500 that we added here that now brings us to 3850, right? Is a normal year with normal mechanical issues, right? There's one thing that I've made mention of in previous videos and I'll make mention of here where it's like you could stay in the industry long enough and put hundreds of thousands of miles year over year on your vehicle, right? Or you could just have bad luck and be in a situation where you get a vehicle a year or two after being in the industry, you get hit with a engine failure. You got to go out and buy a new engine, or the transmission goes out. You have to now go ahead and put a new transmission in these cars. And now I feel like this is really the kicker, because now if you start getting into those issues and that 1500 is not enough to cover those type of issues, a new engine, you could be looking at a $6,000 to $8,000 job. A new transmission, you could be looking at a $3,000 to $6,000 job. And this is going to be an occurrence that is going to go on top of that 1500 that we already pulled to the side just for normal maintenance issues over the year.